Hi guys. Sorry for the slight delay and last minute little adjustments. But anyways, we're here live, and it's me, and I have a special guest today, Nitsan, all the way from London, UK.
Hey guys.
Anyways, Nitsan is gonna be kind of helping me out, basically moderating, because while I'm busy here editing, he's gonna be answering some of your questions. He's actually a filmmaker himself. For those of you who don't know, he's got a really cool YouTube channel where he shares some of his like little tips and tricks. Also, you do a lot of gear reviews, I know, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and tutorials and various things.
Yeah. And are you mainly a filmmaker? I know you do a lot of photography, like really cool, like flash photography tutorials. I know I was asking you for a
Yeah,
lot of tips before about when
yeah.
it comes to photography. So.
Mainly film, but I do a lot of stuff. So I have 4 YouTube channels. So I'm doing a lot
Oh,
on that, and then a little bit of photography, a little bit of. I do a lot of stuff, but yeah,
okay. All right. So yeah. So anyways, you guys check out his channel. But in the meantime, while we're doing this live stream, he's gonna basically help you guys out. So he's gonna answer the questions or direct the questions to me because I'm basically looking here at my screen. I'm gonna be busy editing. So that's actually what I'm gonna be doing. And anyways, I'm gonna start up here Premiere and kind of see if everything's all right here. And for those of you who are maybe curious, you want to see kind of, I guess, the setup that I have. So let me just switch here. You can see me here. Hopefully, I switched to the right for my webcam. It's a mess in here. I'm basically staying with relatives, you could say. I don't even since I've kind of stopped traveling because I've been on the road pretty much this whole year. Like at the beginning of January, I've been on the road, and so I'm kind of right now back, you could say, in the States, but I'm not. I don't really have a place of my own, so I'm staying with relatives, and I'm staying in this place that it's kind of messy, basically. I just like unloaded all of these boxes and everything here, as you guys can see, and yeah, and it's basically just a big mess. And also, you might be able to hear this like little noise in the background. That's basically the air conditioning going. That's like right there behind the camera, and that's because it's super super hot outside, and without the air conditioner, I think me and the computer would actually melt. So I needed to make sure I have the AC. How is it over there in the UK? Actually, is it hot too?
I didn't think it'd be hot, but tonight it's super hot. So I've got the AC going as well.
Yeah.
A fan, big fan.
Oh, okay. It's actually funny because you know how like you always hear that in the UK the weather is very kind of damp, cool, and
Yeah.
rainy, right? I've never been to the UK until this year. Basically, I was there in May. I went for a workshop there that I did. And I don't know whether it's just good luck, I guess, or what, but I was there every day. It was beautiful. It was actually, I remember it was hotter there, like it was really hot. Then afterwards, I went to Madrid in Spain, and I thought, Spain, Madrid, it's gonna be nice and hot. It was actually freaking cold over there compared to the UK. So I don't know if that's how it is. I think when I was there, it did rain for like maybe an hour or two. Otherwise, it was sunny every day in London. So
Yeah, and well, that's the thing. It's really confusing. Yeah, like today it was pouring rain, and then now it's really hot.
oh,
So
okay, okay. It changes up on you, eh?
yeah,
Anyways, do we have any questions right now here? Anybody, you think?
we
Or maybe people.
we have lots of comments,
Okay.
and
Hopefully, good comments. Let me see, actually, here. No, yeah, that was my desktop showing you guys. But yeah, actually, here. Let me look at what are we getting here.
okay. So should we start? Would you like me to read out the questions so that you can continue with editing while you answer?
I guess. Well, I mean, before I actually get into editing, I'll answer
Okay.
some questions. So yeah, if there's anything here, I actually brought up the screen, so I guess I can see the questions too. But I don't know what I missed or what I didn't. So you can just let me know, Nitsan, if you see
I
anything.
missed a bunch of them. So guys, if I've missed your comment and it's important, then ask again, please.
Yeah, exactly. Just
Um,
retype it.
yeah. Or I will scroll up if I have time. First of all, we have a question about what webcam you're using.
Uh, Webcam. Oh, you mean like at the camera right now that you're looking at?
Yeah.
That's actually not a webcam. That's the GH4, Panasonic GH4. I just plug it in using like one of those little HDMI to USB 3 interface. So I have that plugged it into my computer. But then the other angle from over there that you saw, which here, let me just switch here. And by the way, I'm like this is like I said, super fast improvised, live show you could say. So because of that, I'm basically switching everything in myself. So that's why I need Nitsan to kind of help me with the comments, because otherwise it'd be too many things for me to do. So like I said, I'm editing, but at the same time I've got like shortcuts set up on my computer so I can switch. So this one is actually a Logitech webcam. It's pretty good, but right now I know it looks like crap basically because it's I did not set it up properly. I just kind of put it in here so you guys can see just how messy it is and everything. But if I switch here to this angle, then you guys can see that it's way better, and that's the Panasonic GH4, and I think it's better because it's it's a camera that's like a professional camera. I can actually set in the manual settings for the focus, all that stuff. So that's what I'm using right now.
Cool.
Anyway.
And Naveed asks, Tom, what software are you using for this live broadcast, please?
What is it called? XSplit? XSplit, I think it is.
Okay, is
Uh,
that for Windows?
it is for Windows and Mac, I think. Hold on, let me just
Okay.
double check it. Here, what did I have? Yeah, it's XSplit. I know it's pretty
Okay.
popular with gamers, like people on YouTube who do like those live gaming sessions and stuff. That's what it's really popular
Mm.
with. But you can actually do some pretty cool advanced stuff. Like I'm obviously not pushing the limits of it. But yeah, it's XSplit, and it's yeah, I'm pretty happy with it so far. So.
Okay. There's a question here about your LUTs. I'm not sure if they're asking you, do you have some Tom Antos LUTs?
I do have lots on my website. There's some actually here. Let me show you guys where it is.
I don't fully understand the question. It's asking what sets your LUTs apart from Adobe Premiere. Maybe Midnight Gaming, let me know what you mean with the question. Maybe he means sort of just color grading on Adobe Premiere versus your
Oh, okay,
LUTs.
okay. Well, here I'm gonna go. I'll just show you kind of my desktop. So on my website here, tomantosfilms.com, you go and if you go to the well, I have lots for free that I give people. So here, when you go to downloads, I have my LUTs. So these are like set of LUTs that are like these I would say, very typical LUTs that I usually kind of start out with. They kind of give you, I would say, they kind of convert your video basically and give it more of a filmic look. And there's three different ones. So these are like the ones that I share here. But if you go to the store, and of course, if you want to help support what I do, then go over there and get something. And you can get it for like 22 bucks. You can get all of the LUTs pretty much that I have right now, which are two different packs. It's 40 different LUTs. And up here, if I show you, basically it's, for those of you who don't know, by the way, LUTs are like, I call them like Instagram filters, right? What would you call it,
Mm.
Nitsan?
Uh, uh, I guess it depends who's made the LUT. Some of them are aimed to be just sort of a very basic color correction, and then some of them are aimed to be
True, true.
uh, more sort of colorful and a style. But
True,
yeah, it's sort
okay.
of a pre-made effect, a
That,
pre-made color effect.
yeah, but that is actually a good point that you brought up, because I always forget about that. Yeah, I guess LUTs were originally meant to be used to calibrate monitors and cameras. So like you would have, let's say, like now you have cameras that shoot different log profiles, S log, C log, whatever. It looks horrible when you play a log image basically, or video on your TV. So you gotta first
Yeah.
convert that to the right basically color space, you could say, like, so you kind of calibrating it so it looks good on an average TV. So that's really what I guess LUTs were really invented for. And you can like if you get like, and that's on you shoot with the Sony cameras, right, like with S-Log.
Yeah, A7S.
And
I'm avoiding S-Log a little bit at the moment because
oh,
it's easier to make mistakes with that. So because I'm shooting so much stuff, it's actually easier for me to not shoot in log, but shoot in one of the modes that gives me less dynamic range. But
okay.
then know that at least the camera can be a little bit more automatic. Like I can set it to automatic exposure sometimes and still get a good result. Because I mean, I'm filming by myself a lot of the time, or sometimes it's just a really, really fast workflow
Oh,
when
okay.
filming.
So
Uh,
S-Log, so when do you use S-Log then, or do you use it even?
at the moment, I'm not using any of the log modes. I'm
Okay.
just using, I think, just a flat profile.
Oh, okay.
But I have on my channel, there is a lot of stuff shot on S-Log
Oh.
for the stuff that I really care about looking the best that it can.
Now, I'll ask you a quick question. When you shoot an S-Log, do you shoot internally and like I'm guessing you're shooting with like the DSLRs, right, or DSLM cameras?
I'm
And eight.
shooting with the A7S, the
So
first one,
so you're shooting with like internally in the 8-bit.
internally,
Yeah.
because it's important for me to be very compact.
Oh, okay.
So I'm figuring out different ways to make things as compact and quick as possible, so I don't have to think about other batteries that needs to be replaced or anything like that.
Okay.
Um,
And you're saying you
yeah,
have run into problems sometimes where it's like instead of helping, it kind
with
of.
S-Log, I found that you need to be uh, really precise with the exposure, and it's sometimes difficult to gauge on the screen, and it's just a little more difficult than editing sometimes. I mean, and I'm talking about recording internally. I've not been using external monitors, external monitor recorders, that kind of thing, like the Atmos.
Oh, okay, okay.
So yeah, it can look great, but also it's very difficult to recover if you've underexposed. And because I love to shoot with automatic exposure, and some of you guys who've seen my channel, you know I like autofocus sometimes as well. But because I like automatic exposure for really quick work, then it doesn't do very well with S-Log together with automatic exposure. It sometimes underexposes it.
Oh, okay, okay.
So
Well,
yeah,
I'll
I
tell
have
you
a bit of
that.
a strange workflow.
Okay, because I've done some tests like a little bit with S-Log when the Sony FS5, but also in VLAG on the GH4 that I'm using right now. And I kind of talked about it, like for those of you who joined me on the filmmaking workshop that I did, the last few months. If you join me, then you remember me talking about it, and saying, promising that I'm gonna do a video following up, basically explaining in detail. But from all of my tests, I would say if you're shooting on a camera that only records in an 8-bit codec, uh, it's you really gotta be careful, like really careful. It can still benefit you shooting basically a wider dynamic range, and then like S-Log, C-Log, or
Mm.
whatever it is, V-Log, but only if you're don't basically you have to pretty much nail the exposure, because
Yeah,
if you don't, and then you have to grade that image. I mean, obviously when you're shooting log, like I said, you have to grade it or apply a lot. When you do that, you're converting basically the color space, or you're getting rid of certain colors. And then on top of that, if you over or underexpose it and you gotta further grade it, then you might actually end up with an image that looks drastically worse than if you were to just shoot in regular video profile or something like in between, like a log profile and I think like like hyper gammas or cine gammas like on the Sony cameras. So
yeah,
that's one thing. But yeah, getting back to the LUTs. So yeah, there's like I said, majority of LUTs are I guess were meant to calibrate cameras to kind of bring it to the proper video colors. The ones that
yeah,
I give away though, or the ones that I sell, as you can see here on the screen, these are basically these stylized LUTs. So that's why I call them like Instagram filters, because they kind of take your video, like you see here on the left, you have this standard video. This was shot on the 7D,
yeah,
Canon 7D, and then I'm basically just showing here on the right how it looks with that particular, this one's called two-tone cool, how it
yeah.
looks,
That's nice.
and then how the next image, for example, right, or that same shot looks with the two-tone extreme, for example. So it gives you definitely that stylized look, and there are just different looks that you can get. So that's kind of I guess my LUTs that I'm giving away. Like this one, for example, the black and white one. So you see here a full color image, and then basically desaturates most of the image except the reds, and it gives a little bit of more contrast. So it gives you this kind of a it's kind of a film noir, but with that red color still popping in there, right? So that's kind of
Mm.
like what my LUTs I guess do, and these are basically my LUTs are basically nothing more than whenever I work on a project and I come up with like some color grade that I like, I usually export it as a LUT, just so I have it for myself, like for the future. So if I know I
Oh,
came up with like a cool look, then I have it, and because I prefer to save my look in a LUT versus like let's say if I'm grading in whatever application or thing, I don't want to save it in the application because
mm.
sometimes you know how it is, like 2 or 3 years down the line you might end up using a different application, and
Yeah,
then you can't really take that color grade that you did and apply it anymore. So that's why whereas a LUT is pretty much something that you can apply and use in I think in any application. Actually, Nitsan,
mm.
you're using Final Cut, so you probably know more.
Yeah.
In
In
Final
Final
Cut.
Cut, you can use it with. You need a little plugin. I think there's a free one. If not, a while ago, I had to pay about $30 for
Oh, okay.
one. I think, but yeah, it's not too difficult
Not too difficult.
to
Okay.
learn Final Cut.
Because yeah,
Although it can be a little bit buggy. I'm not sure. I mean, it might depend on the version you're using and whatever, and the plugin. it can be a little buggy. So sometimes you have to play around. I have actually an article on my blog about this, which I won't go into now. It can be a little buggy, but it can be fixed if it's buggy.
Okay. And what version of Final Cut you using, by the way?
Most recent one, I think, 10.0.2, maybe I'm completely wrong. 10.2.0.
Okay, okay.
Most recent, I think.
Most recent. Okay, okay. All right. So yeah. Anyways, if you guys want more info about how to use LUTs, I guess maybe Nitsan can help answer those maybe on his YouTube channel.
Possibly. And
Yeah.
if you guys have questions on Final Cut Pro X, then I might be able to answer some of those. Hopefully, I can.
Uh,
And Tom, and I don't know much about Premiere, so Tom will be.
yeah. I'm actually today. I'm actually going to be using Premiere, so you can see here. Um, this is the the project for this film. By the way, yeah, basically what I'm doing is I'm editing my new short film. I say new because it hasn't been edited, but I've actually shot this over a year ago. Sometimes it happens where I'm like these are like those passion projects, and this one's called the Legend of the Bar. And it's a project, like I said, just came up with this idea that I thought was cool, and like literally shot it with no money while I was in Ecuador in January of 2015. So it's been a while. And I was supposed to get it done by like summer, like maybe August of 2015. Looks like it's going to be done by August of this year. So that's how sometimes it happens, because you know how it is. You get paid projects, and we all got to pay our bills. So I had to put this aside. But I'm finally now, like I said, I'm done with the tour. I'm done with all these other. I have another like a paid job coming up, but it's only a few days. So pretty much right now, most of the time, I'm going to be devoting to this project. And here's what I have here. So I have my assembly cut, and basically the way I kind of edit is I usually start with just an assembly cut, which is it's not maybe a editing technique or approach that everybody should use, because depends on what kind of work you do, right? But if you're doing a film, whether it's like a narrative like this one, or even if it's like a documentary, I think actually, especially in a documentary, doing assembly cuts can be really helpful. So anyway, so that's how my assembly cut here looks. Just kind of play through it for you guys. You will be able to hear the audio here.
Déjenme contarles una vieja leyenda. Así es como mi gente relata historias.
So I can see it is playing back a little choppy. Let me bring down the resolution, and it's probably because I'm trying to stream and do everything basically off my computer. But
Y esta no es la sección.
Just so you guys know, I can't see this at the moment. I will see it in a minute because there's lag. It's a bit confusing. But
oh yeah. Because Nitsan is watching. Because you guys are also watching it with a slight delay. So that's why.
Terminar
That's
la
why.
verdad de esta ficción.
But yeah. Anyway, so that's kind of how you know my assembly cut looks. And if you notice, basically an assembly cut, I don't know if anybody cares about it, but I'll kind of quickly go over it. It's where I lay out all of my footage, so I can quickly kind of find it. So usually when I edit, and I've kind of talked about this already in some of my tutorials, I'll kind of first do my audio sync. So I'll load in all of the footage and audio, and that's here. You can see I have a timeline called audio sync. I literally just put all of my footage here on the timeline, all of the audio, and I start syncing all the audio here to the video, because you know in a narrative film we usually record the audio separate from the video. Once I've done that, all I do is I take the audio sync timeline, just right click on it here.
sorry, can I ask a question?
Yep.
Did you record the audio completely separately? Do you mean, or do you mean on two different devices?
Well, I always have usually a scratch track recorded in the camera. Obviously, it's not something I'm going to use, but then
so it's not ADR.
No, and then I have one recording the live sound, but I have a sound guy recording it on, like usually the Zoom H4n or H5n. Now I use.
So separately on different devices, but not separately two different times.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, and actually, to be honest, I've never done ADR on any of my little short films. Never had to, because I always got, I guess, good audio, so never had any problems. But yeah, that's kind of how I do it, and so because of that, I have to sync it. Once I sync it, like I said, I'll take this whole timeline and just go duplicate here, and maybe here. Let me switch just in case you guys are cutting off your view here. Here you can see the whole screen now. So basically, take my timeline, right click on it, go duplicate, and then name it basically assembly cut 1 or 2, whatever you want to name it. So right now I can delete this, so I don't get confused. And then here I have my assembly cut. And that's, I guess, the biggest difference in assembly cut versus like the sync timeline that I have is just simply that in the sync timeline I literally put all the footage and the audio in the order that I shot it. So like you can see here we have these shots of this guy talking. Then there's like some wider shots here where he's talking to these, you see these girls in a bar. Then you see some footage here that is, where is it? Yeah, it's here on the desert. And this was actually shot in the middle of the day in Ecuador in a super hot desert, but it looks like it's very, like it's cool and cold. That's because I underexposed it on purpose and I did the white balance so it looks kind of bluish because we're shooting day for night basically. These are all supposed to be at night. And then you can see in my assembly cut, I have the same footage. All I just simply started doing is I started putting it in the right order. So the film is actually going to open up with the shot, like a close-up here of this guy talking. So you see him, and then it's going to cut here to the shots here of these guys walking. So these are actually shots that we got right at the end of the second day, which is at the end of the whole shoot. So as you can see, they're not in the same order as I shot it, but they're in the right order of the script basically. And by the way, when I edit, like here, show you guys. Here's my script. This is actually my shooting script. So you'll notice I have my like notes here. This on the sides usually I put like little notes here for lines I want to take out. So I put all of this and I hold on usually to the script because sometimes when I'm shooting, like, you know, on a big film it's different because you're gonna have a crew, somebody who does continuity, who, you know, takes all the notes and everything. On a small film, as a director slash producer slash cinematographer, you know how it is, you kind of have to keep track of everything. So I make all my notes, so like in case like I know later on here like here there's a lot of changes, and that's because we were literally running late. I only had 2 days to shoot this, and we were running late on the second day, and I had to pretty much like cut like almost half of the script that I had to cut it. So I had to kind of rewrite the script on the go, on location. And so because of that, I made notes to basically, this guy says this now, and then he says that, then this happens, so and so on, so I can kind of finish, so we could finish shooting, which, you know, that's kind of what happens. But that's why you want to make sure you hold on to all these notes and all these scripts, because now when I'm editing, it's very helpful for me to kind of look at this. So that's why I always have the script next to me. And anyways, so here you can see my edit, my assembly cut. I'm kind of just laying out all of the footage, but in the right order. So I'm kind of putting it, so you can basically see all the, like the scene here with these guys now walking. They're basically walking through the desert, and I have a few different, we got a message that there's no microphone detected on Skype. Can you hear me, Nitsan?
I can hear you, yes.
Oh yeah, okay. So I don't know. So I don't know why, but Skype is freaking out. Anyways,
but guys, let us know if there are any audio issues.
Yeah. So I have these basically shots here of these guys, and on an assembly cut, I kind of put out all of this footage, and I guess what an assembly cut is, and different people work differently. Like some people will right away kind of trim the shots already in assembly cut. I like to kind of keep all of my shots here, but I like to use these markers here on the top. You can see, and these markers is what I use to kind of actually mark and say, okay, like I like this shot, you know, or this moment in this shot, or so on. And you'll notice I kind of went already through all this footage here for this scene, which is just like random shots of guys walking through the desert. There's like some close-ups of them walking, looking at the sky as they're, you know, they're sweating and stuff like that. Close-ups of their feet. I think here this one. So I have stuff like that. I even have some stock footage because unfortunately, like I said, we were running so behind schedule and we couldn't get all the like second unit kind of B shots of the desert. So I just ended up going and getting some footage from stock web.
Okay. And do you have one of those memberships where you can use unlimited stock, or do you buy shots individually?
Depends. I think these ones actually, yeah, these ones are from VideoBlacks. Yeah, VideoBlacks.com, because I have a membership with them. So like I do have, like I said, with some websites a membership like that. And VideoBlacks I just find, I guess, has a decent selection. But what I do, like for example, for right now, I just literally went to VideoBlacks. I downloaded as many shots that I thought might need, or, you know, that I'm gonna use. and I can just kind of put it in, in my timeline. Now sometimes it might turn out that I need like a specific shot of so and so, and if I can't find that on Video Blacks, then I might go to Video Blacks has like a Premiere, like a, I guess, section of their website, or where you actually have to pay per clip, or I'll go to like iStack, I think it is. I forgot the website, but there's a bunch of good websites, or Shutterstock, and I'll just go to them and I'll actually buy those individual clips. But since I have a subscription, first I go and I get all the unlimited stuff that I already paid for through the subscription.
Cool.
But that's kind of how I do it. So that's kind of how I work with my assembly cut. By the way, like I said, you can do assembly cuts many different ways. Some people do them on paper, but basically it's called a paper edit. They'll literally like lay out all this footage, as you can see here on my timeline, and then they'll just kind of make notes on paper and say, at time code here, let's say 1 minute 42 seconds, I like this moment in this shot, like put that at the beginning of the film, let's say, and then do this and then do that shot. In Premiere, I don't know how it is in Final Cut, but in Premiere, there's actually, I'm using CC 2015 version, so the newer one that has even some more improvements. But here, if you go to your workspaces, you can actually go to Assembly, and what that does is it kind of changes the layout here, and it will basically show you here all of the markers. So you can see, like, I put all of these markers. And by the way you do these markers is let me do it just as a test, so I don't screw up the markers I have in there. But let's say I'm previewing a shot, so I'm gonna let's see, play one of these shots here. So I'm gonna just play this, and you can see I'm watching it. And let's say I like this moment here, I'll just press M on my keyboard. When I do that, you'll notice it places a little marker. So here, see that little marker, and you can see it shows up here in the timeline. Now, the cool thing is, I mean, this could be playing, and I can go in here and say, close up, whatever, of, leader, let's say, walking, right? And I can just leave it, and that's how I can kind of put my notes like that, and then let's say if I have another take, sometimes, like I said, I'll put up multiple takes, like one after another in the assembly cut. And let's say, here I have another moment that I like. Again, I'll press M to create the marker. And in here, I'll put, let's say, medium, of leader. All right. So, like, I can put in these notes. And you can see already, like, I put little notes, not for all the shots. Like, these shots of the desert, it's kind of obvious. What I like about the way, I guess, it works in Premiere is that it creates these little thumbnails. So you can kind of see the moment that you put the marker at. And if you want to, you can put these... you can put here the notes. I put in here, this marker is for the shot of the desert where a lizard turns his head. So I can click on it, and the cool thing is now it's going to take me to that moment on my timeline. So that's the advantage, I guess, of doing markers, at least for me in Premiere, versus doing it like, I guess, writing in on paper. Is now I have all of my shots, all of my moments that I like I have them all here. So let's say I'm editing, right? And I need another shot. Like let's say, like, again, I'm doing a sequence where these guys are just walking through the desert. So I have here a wide shot, take one of them walking, I can see, and a close-up, let's say, of the feet. Well, I can just click here, and will take me right away to that timeline. I can kind of play it, see, okay, I like this moment, and if I like it, let's say I'll just do a cut here. So cut here, let's say, somewhere to there. So I make little cuts, select this, go, you can right-click and go copy, obviously, or I'll just go Control-C on Windows here. So I copy this, and then I just go to my other things. So in my edit here, and that's kind of how I usually work. I have another sequence already set up. It's called Cut 1, and I'll just start laying out all this footage here. So basically I'll just go here and paste that shot. So I already have the shot of the feet walking. And I'll kind of like go through my assembly cut, you could say, and pick out the moments I like and start putting them in my actual edit. But the reason why I always keep that assembly cut in there and I don't delete anything from here is because what if I decide, you know what, I remember I had another moment, let's say, of these feet, right, the close-up, like here, which I actually don't like this version. This is just another take of it. But let's say, I have this and I'm like, you know what, this shot might actually work better. Then I can always go back to my assembly cut and think. Or if I just want to look for another shot. So, I can go here looking at the markers, or I can look at the, here in the assembly cut, I can look at the markers on the left side here. So, here.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's kind of my workflow.
Okay. Greenhouse Films is asking, Tom, the video that you're working on, is that RAW or 4K?
It's not it's 4K, not RAW though. It's recorded on the GH4, the Panasonic GH4. So
And
it's
is that recorded internally?
yeah.
Okay. In on the SD card.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here, let me actually go here through these shots and pick out the shots that I like. And I don't know why. See, this is a little glitch sometimes with Premiere, I noticed. It doesn't want to show me now my markers here, like the ones that I was just showing you guys. So let me think. So if there's any other questions in the meantime, just...
Yeah. So Concrete Gorillas asks,
Oh,
how
okay.
much work is it with Canon C100 Mark II to your cinema look? So I think he means, will your LUTs be working with various cameras? Specifically here, he's asking about the C100 Mark II.
Yeah, the LUTs, like I said, my LUTs are not the ones that will calibrate your camera, like color space to proper video. So because of that, they work with all, you could say, cameras, because literally what you have to do, and I kind of showed that in one of the, I think, tutorials, like when you buy the LUTs, you get the download of the tutorials that kind of show you how to use it. But basically, you apply it to a Rec 709 image, which is or video, which is already in standard color space. But if you, like, a lot of times people think, oh, I need to apply my LUTs or my color grade to my log image because it has the wider dynamic range. And if I apply a color grade or a LUT to it that converts it to Rec 709, then what's the point of me shooting in log, right? Well, I'll tell you this: if you're actually shooting, because it's non-destructive, if you apply a LUT the way I show you in my tutorial, when you buy the LUTs, you're basically taking, let's say, a log image. It's recorded flat. It has that extra information, that extra dynamic range. Then you apply a LUT on it, which I just basically go to your camera manufacturer. Like usually they have, like I know Sony for this for S-Log2, S-Log3, they provide those LUTs on their website. Plus, I think it's included actually in my LUTs. When you think, if not, just email me. I'll provide them on my website. You guys have links for it. But you basically can, you'll apply first a LUT. Let's say if you're shooting in, let's say on a Sony A7, A7S, and you're shooting in S-Log2. Well, if you're shooting S-Log2, first you want to apply a LUT to convert for S-Log2 to Rec 709. And then once you're basically in Rec 709, then you apply another LUT, which will be like my LUT, that converts the Rec 709 to like that stylized image. Now, don't worry, because if you have two LUTs applied, all of that information, let's say my LUT really decreases, so like the intensity in the highlights, and in the Rec 709 version, your shot looks like it doesn't have all that highlight information that you have in your log image. Well, in the final, basically, because it's not non-destructive when you're applying LUTs, so in the final, basically, LUT, when you apply it, it will actually retrieve that information from those highlights. It's still going to be there. So basically what I'm saying is, regardless what camera you're shooting, you're going to have to first convert it to standard video or standard, Rec 709. So C-Log, like Canon cameras, apply your LUT that converts it from C-Log to, a Rec 709. The same thing for Sony cameras. If you're shooting S-Log2 or S-Log3, apply a LUT that converts it from S-Log2 or S-Log3 to Rec 709. And then you apply, my LUTs, which will kind of give it a style. Now, if you shoot right away in just standard video on any camera, let's say Sony DSLRs or something like that, just take that and right away apply my LUTs. Then you don't have to. You could say your work is made easier. And I know some people are asking me, like, what if they're shooting, like, let's say on the I don't know, Canon 5D Mark III, let's say, and they're not shooting in log, but they have this custom profile they did that's a little bit flatter. You still don't worry about it. They're still essentially shooting in video, like Rec 709. You just slightly customize the look of it. Apply my LUT, and then you kind of can adjust the overall contrast. And let's see if it's not contrasty enough for you, you can bring up the contrast. Things like that. So.
Cool.
Yeah.
Now there's a question about whether you can use ABCHD in Premiere. I did Google it, but it's a little bit confusing. I don't want to get into it. Do you know if, off the top of your head, ABCHD?
Yeah, it works, no problem. I mean, pretty much.
Okay.
From my experience so far in Premiere, any format, any video format, as long as my computer can read it, like basically your computer has to be able to play it, like play it in Windows Media or whatever it is, computer they're using and whatever player you're using. if your computer can play it, that means you have a decoder for that specific codec, and then it's gonna work in Premiere. At least so far, like I said, any codec I've thrown on there, like I've shot sometimes stuff like on my phones, you know, and they recorded different compressions, different things, or things like that, and yeah, had no problems.
Yeah. There's for those of you guys on Macs, if you have an issue with that, I'll ask Tom to put a link down below at the end of the live video. There is a very, very quick converter. If you have issues using MTS files or AVCHD, then there's a free converter for Mac. It's really quick.
All right, yeah, I'll post that link after. So those of you who are watching what I'm doing here, I'm basically just, like I said, picking out those moments that I like. So I can even go right here to my edit workspace, because I already kind of marked all my shots. I know which ones I like. And I'm just going to be basically taking these and copy and paste it here into my actual edit. So here, go to assembly cut. So I got a close-up of their feet, wide shot here. What else? There's a little moment where this guy looks over, so I might end up using it. Again, copy and paste it. And this is pretty much like what you guys are seeing me do. This is kind of how I edit my films, I guess. There's sometimes people ask like how I start about it, and do I go also in sequence and stuff, and I'll tell you guys that it's always going to be different in every project, because well, because you know, it's some projects have different requirements, but in general, I mean, I kind of like to, you know, first process, like I said, take all of my footage and audio and sync it, just because that's like a necessary, and then I start doing the assembly cut, pick out all my moments that I like. Once I have the assembly cut, like I said, I just take, you know, I pick the scene that I start working on it, and I start kind of putting it in there. And in general, I like working on the scenes in order, like of the film. I don't like to kind of go, you know, and start like a scene in the middle, unless that scene, let's say, might have special effects or things like that that I need to do before. So, are those your cats?
It's one cat who's making some noise.
Oh,
Wants
yeah?
attention.
So, at first I thought it was like a baby. I was like, man, you're hiding a baby under the table?
Come here.
Let's see.
Okay. Let me know whenever you'd like me to get to more questions. We have a few that are a little off topic. So, you know, cameras, gimbals, and stuff.
Let me know.
Whenever you're...
I'm ready. I'm always ready.
Okay. So we've had a few questions about gimbals. Do you have one that's sort of your go-to recommended at the moment? Electronic stabilizers. For those guys, right?
Not, I guess my go-to. I don't know, because I've been, to be honest, I don't rely on electronic, like, you know, 3-axis gimbals too much. I try not to. The reason is because they break down sometimes. So I do have like simple, like, you know, like those glide cam type of Steadicam stabilizer, whatever you want to call them. That are just old mechanical, and there's a few that I like one from KMTV. There's a new one actually from Camtree, I think it is. I don't know. I did a video in where I'm like walking around with this girl in Rome, so you guys can see it. But so those ones I like, because they kind of are, like I said, they're maybe a pain in the ass trying to learn to use them, but once you learn to use them, they always work. So those are the ones that I like. As far as the 3-axis gimbals, I mean, I like the Came TV 7800. That one, I've been kind of using it for a lot of things until I got the one from Turbo Ace. Hold on, I'm getting a phone call here. I got to turn off my phone. Okay.
You've got your phone. I've got a cat. What's going on?
It's the raw. This is how the editing goes, right? A raw editing session. So yeah. So yeah, there's the cat again. So yeah. So I like I said, that was the one that I liked using before until I got the Turbo Ace 6 Pro. I like that one because it has some of these other features that I didn't have on the Came TV. Now it is a bit more expensive, but it was it basically came with a joystick, like a remote control, like a full-blown remote control that you can also kind of configure. You can attach other remote controllers to it. so it worked really nicely when I had it up on a crane or things like that. And now KMTV actually sent me two of their new gimbals, the Came Mini 3 and Came Argo, which look really nice, like really like totally different build, kind of like no wires exposed, things like that. And they actually have come with little wireless remote controls on them that are really cool. So I haven't really used them on any productions yet, so I haven't, like, I'm actually in the middle kind of testing them all out. And there's another one I got, new one from Turbo Ace, which has some improvements, and another one from Moza. And today, actually this morning, really I've just been working with the Moza one. It's Moza Lite. I think that's how they pronounce it, Moza, Maza, or something like that. It's some Chinese company again, and I've tested out one of their gimbals, I think like a year or 2 years ago, which was like their first gimbal, which was pretty good, but it was just massive and big and heavy. This one is like this little one, like that's why I guess they call it light, and it's pretty cool so far. Like I've been pretty happy. So actually, if you guys want, I can. Where is it? Where did I put it? Oh, it's over there. If you want, I'll grab it maybe at the end. If anything, remind me of the webcast if we have time, and I can show you then how the gimbal looks. But it's well, actually I posted also a photo on probably it's better to just check out the photo on my Instagram, which I posted, which is also on my Facebook and Twitter, that I posted today. And it's on it I actually was able to balance the GH4 with the speed booster. There's like a bigger Rokinon 40mm lens and the Cinegears follow focus, which is a professional follow focus, and I was able to put it all on there, balance it perfectly, and tested it out, and works like super smooth. So I'm happy with it now. I haven't shot anything, so I might be even tomorrow going and doing some test shots with that gimbal and some of the other ones. But like I said, I don't have a favorite right now because the one I used before, which was the KMTV 7800, is kind of outdated, I think, and the new ones I just haven't had time to play with. So.
Cool.
Here. If you have any other questions, just go ahead with it.
Yeah. There was also a question which you answered, which was about mechanical gimbals. He was asking about low-budget gimbals. Sorry, low-budget non-electronic stabilizers.
Oh, okay.
You answered that. I could add to that and say that my favorite one would be the GlideCam HD 1000. Just because I love the gimbal on it, meaning the little non-electronic moving part.
Is it from that Indian company?
No, this would be the actual GlideCam brand.
Oh,
HD 1000.
Okay.
I find that has the most accurate gimbal, and also very, very lightweight overall. So with a small camera, I find it's very easy to hold for a long time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Expensive though?
No, it's about £300, and I think in America it's actually a bit cheaper. It's about $350. So not too bad. It's a little more.
It's more than
$100 more than the Chinese ones or the Indian ones.
Oh, okay.
No, actually, it's about $200 more than the Indian ones.
Okay, so not horrible. Have you tried or have you seen the it's also from GlideCam, but it's the Devon Supertramp. You know the guy on YouTube who does.
It's kind of expensive. I mean, it looks.
Oh, it is.
It looks alright, but also they only made, as far as I know, they only made a big version of it, which I mean, I'm shooting with the A7S. For me, would be way overkill, and also comes at a pretty good price. Meaning, pretty large price in my opinion.
Oh, okay,
it's not impossible to buy, but it's not like really affordable.
Oh, okay.
So I haven't tried that yet.
All right. Yeah, because I saw it when I was at NAB this year. They had it, and Devin, the YouTube star, guess you could say the guy. He does some really cool videos. He was there, and it was like crowded like crazy, and he was doing some demo, and I wanted to get my hands on because they had a few of them, but it was just like each time I came there, it was just crowded. But that's why I was kind of wondering, is like, was it just a lot of hype over nothing, or is it actually a big improvement? Because I mean, the guy, from like at least from guys on YouTube, I think that guy seems to get like the best results, and he flies all kinds of cameras, like DSLRs all the way to like the Red Epic, Red Dragon, and he seems to be always getting beautiful smooth shots. I would even say shots that look better than many people get on like 3-axis gimbals, because they feel very organic. That's one thing I like about the like 3-axis gimbals, the digital ones. They're good, and like I said, they're easier to learn to use, in my opinion. but they do still have a bit of this kind of mechanical feel to it, like, you know, the way the camera moves left and right and up and down. Whereas I find with like a traditional Steadicam kind of device, like a glide cam, if you learn to use it properly, you get these nice kind of smooth motion, and also you can get, like, especially when you're getting this fast motion, you can kind of bank the camera a little bit, you know, left and right, and kind of, so it's not always perfectly thing, which kind of feels more, I don't know, more natural to me, I guess.
Yeah. No, I totally agree.
Oh, you think that too? Okay. Because I know some people don't like that, but I guess it just comes down to preference.
I think it also depends on the user, because the electronic ones are, you know, they do the job and you just hold them. And with the mechanical ones, it's just sort of, is the user doing a good job? If he is, it can look fantastic. If he's not, and there's a lot of issues. I actually have videos about this. There's a lot of different kinds of issues that you can have with the mechanical ones that are, it's very difficult for the user to even know if they're doing something wrong or if the device is doing something wrong, because there's so many different things. But yeah, I have some videos explaining the various issues and how to figure that out with the mechanical ones. Because a lot of the time it's user error or an issue with the device itself. Sorry about the cat. But if you get a good one, learn how to use it, you can get very good results. And they can be very, I mean, I do still really like them. For me, if I'm going to like a professional shoot, my go-to would be the glide cam if I need to, you know, walk around with the camera.
Okay. All right. Here I'm just gonna show you guys on my desktop. Basically what I'm doing, as you can see here, I have I kind of started editing, you could say, but literally all I have right now is the opening shots, which is this guy talking, and I'll kind of just show you how this looks. Oh, if it actually will play back real time. Oh, and actually let me unmute this, the audio.
Déjenme contarles una vieja leyenda. Así es como mi gente relata historias. Nuestras palabras son nuestra herencia. Y esta no es la... Las palabras cambian de tanto ser contadas. Depende de ustedes determinar la verdad de esta ficción. Presten atención.
So, I know it's very choppy. My computer, I think, is like, let me just see here. Yeah, it's getting pretty hot in here. So even with the AC, it's like, I can even feel it's hot. But anyways, that's kind of how how the shot looks here now. And is there, by the way, any complaints there, Nitsan, from people? Is there?
Actually, no. We're getting.
No, okay. So I'm hoping.
One guy was wondering, who is this guy? I'm guessing he means me. But no, it's looking good. We have a few more questions, and we'll get to those.
Okay. Yeah, oh wow, it's almost 7 o'clock. So maybe I'll try to wrap this up, this edit, and kind of because my computer is dying. So I don't think I'm gonna get to do much more editing. I'll maybe just answer more questions, and like I said, I'm actually gonna be editing this film, like I said, over the next few weeks probably. So while I'm editing, I'm gonna try to do like a live stream every 3 days. So I'll just let you guys know on my Facebook and Twitter. Just go there, and then you'll see me, me put up a notice of when. Or also, if you're ever like wondering when's the next live stream, just go to tomantosfilms.com/live, and so over there, here I think I have the page. Yeah, here I can just go tomantosfilms.com/live, and here you're gonna see basically information about when the next stream is gonna happen and all that stuff. So. Anyway, so like I said, I'm gonna be doing updates about it. And I'm gonna try to resolve the situation so that I can actually stream properly and edit at the same time, so it doesn't get so choppy. Because right now it is kind of almost painful for me to edit. Because normally when I'm editing, the most important thing is like I need to be able to do it actually in real time, which I'm kind of not able to do it right now because it's so choppy. But basically. Right now what I have is, I have this shot here of this guy talking, a close-up, and he's telling the story, right? Like I said, it's the title of the film is The Legend of the Bar, which, that's what he's doing. He's telling this legend. By the way, the film is in Spanish, recorded in Ecuador with the actors, Ecuadorian actors. I wrote the script actually in English, because my Spanish is still, un poquito. My wife speaks Spanish fluently. She's from Ecuador, but me, I mean, I understand it, pretty much everything, but when I try to talk, it just doesn't come out the same. So, and definitely I couldn't write a script in Spanish. So that's why like I said, my scripts were all written in English. I had somebody translate it. I kind of supervised it because, like I said, I can't understand it, but I just, I had somebody else who's good at writing scripts help me. Actually, no. This one is most of the script was translated by my wife, so gotta give her actually put a credit for her in the film. But anyways, so that's kind of how I do it. So I have this one shot, and then literally after that, I have him talking like he.
Presten atención.
See, he says this line, but this is actually already another take. I basically did another take where I recorded it like wild, meaning I just had the microphone, I said action, and the actor just read all these lines because there's all these lines he had to say. Basically, so he's reading them off the script, so we didn't have to bother getting this one long perfect take, because I knew somewhere at that point I'm gonna cut anyways to basically the things that he's talking about. And what he's talking about here is, I'll just do play.
Hace mucho tiempo atrás,
You can see here the
cuando los
translations.
conquistadores llegaron a nuestras tierras y robaron todas las riquezas de los incas. En su viaje de retorno, mientras cruzaban el desierto Sechura, quedaron atrapados en una tormenta de arena y nunca más fueron vistos.
So you can see he's telling a story, about these treasure hunters and conquistadors first that take the treasures from the Incas, and then they afterwards basically they get lost in the desert, and while they hide the treasure somewhere, and then they get lost, and along with them the treasure gets lost. And the story then continues where he basically tells the story about him and his expedition. He says that we went out there and we found all this gold. And that's really what it's about. So while he's saying all that stuff, I want to basically show all these shots here that I have of the desert. So he said we just got all these random shots of like their feet, them walking, and it's all slow motion, shot at 96, I guess, frames per second, on the GH4. And I'm just kind of, like you can see, I kind of picked out my shots already, and now, since I know I have the best kind of takes out of all this raw footage that I shot, I can kind of start putting it together. So I'll usually, that's kind of how I work with it, is I'll take these shots here, and I'll kind of start putting them basically together. And for a scene like this, where the shots don't really, it's not like a narrative scene, as in you hear people talking and needs to cut from one reaction to another. This is kind of more like kind of very creative, very free kind of editing process, because I can, put the shots in different orders and all that stuff. I can speed them up, slow them down to create the kind of right effect. I want to make it feel like they're really out there, in the desert for all those days. They're walking around and they're tired and they're, in the sun. So I'm gonna kind of start playing around with this, and like I said, next broadcast I do, I'll show you guys, how the scene starts looking. But these are more or less the scenes. I mean, I'm thinking I might start with like maybe this shot here. So let me actually do a little test here. So here we are gonna just have him talking, and maybe even when he says this line already, this last line, I'm gonna start fading away here, somewhere here, and I'll probably do like a dissolve. Like that. Maybe I'll have this white shot of them walking, but I won't reveal it until a little bit later. And I'm thinking, you know what, because I'm here, if I dissolve from his face to the face of one of these guys, I don't think it looks that good, because it's kind of blends in too much. So I'll maybe even go here, extend the shot, where it's like slightly out of focus, I think. And just start playing around with it. So dissolve maybe like this. Oh, it's too fast there. Somewhere there, I think. I'll actually start off from somewhere there. So that's kind of how like I said, in a situation like this, kind of how I work. So start off with the feet to kind of, you know, you're kind of setting it up, but you're not really sure who these guys are that are walking here. And then maybe before I actually show them, since he's first talking about like long time ago, I'll cut maybe to one of those like stock footage shots here that I have. Let's see, where is it? One of these ones here. Maybe show the sun, or maybe the white shot of the desert I have. I think this one. This is aerial footage. There's some different white shots. Something like this. And just paste that up here. So I might even go like this, like start off with the shot of the feet. And then do another dissolve here to this shot of the desert. And by the way, you guys can see that I have the widescreen bars here on the top and the bottom, which is nothing more than just a PNG file that I put in there, which has the anamorphic aspect ratio. Because I shot it, like if I turn this off, I shot basically everything like these shots here, 16:9 standard HD. But on some of it was a 4K on the GH4. But I know I want to finish the film in like a wider aspect ratio, so I kind of already am putting in there this PNG just so that I can even lock this. So I can kind of have it as a guideline, you know, of like, you know, and I know this way that what's actually going to end up in the shot or not. So, like in this case, I can take this shot and just quickly control it here. Just go to FX controls, and I'll just kind of position it down. So I'm kind of more interested in the sun, seeing the sun, I think, or maybe the desert. Let's see. Now the sun, I think, is more interesting. So let's see something like this. And I'll just kind of dissolve it here. You can see to this shot. Then I might cut to another maybe shot of the desert. Let's quickly see here. There's another kind of interesting shot here. There's another one I marked. The sunrise or sunset I'm going to use at the end of the sequence, because then I gotta basically transition from them walking in the desert to them walking in the desert, but at night, because the whole film really takes place at night there. I think it was this one here. Oh, no. See, that's where sometimes those markers come in handy. And by the way, I figured out, see, when you have a shot selected, it shows you markers only that are made in that shot. So if the markers don't show up in your marker window, just deselect all the shots and they pop up here. So here I'm gonna go to where I have that lizard shot. So see, that's where it's good to have those markers. So it's this one here. So copy it. I might put in this shot. I think that's where he turns his head. Otherwise it's like a perfectly still shot. So I kind of want to show, and I do a lot of these dissolves because I want to show time basically passing, right? So you have the sun, you have this lizard here is going to turn his head. Then I'm going to maybe cut back to their feet again, walking. And here maybe I'll go and I'll cut maybe then to the wide shot of these guys walking. And I'll actually maybe cut in from this moment here. Somewhere here, there's all four of them are there. And again, this shot I gotta recompose it or move it. So I will move it somewhere up here. Like that. And that's kind of how I'm working, because like I said, in this case, if you notice, I even turn off the audio of the guy talking, because it's not really, I just kind of, I'm basically doing a little montage. So, you know, like always is the case with a montage, you're just kind of caring about, making sure the montage flows nicely, right? So that's kind of why I'm working like this. Now, if I was doing a sequence, like I have actually here a scene, like a dialogue scene, which I already edited, but I'll just kind of show you guys the raw footage. So here, let me play this. So, you know, I have the bag, whatever. Let's get out of here. Then the camera pans over. We have these other characters talking. Now, by the way, in this one, like I said, this is where we're running behind schedule. So there's a lot of shots in the sequence that I just really don't like. One of them is this one, because I don't know if you can notice, but this really bugged me. Like, I remember, like, well, the second we got back from the shoot and I looked at this footage, I was like, no, why didn't my DP warn me of this? Because this was actually shot by a friend of mine, Denny Ruan from Ecuador. He did that really cool short film on the Sony FS5 that's on my channel, and a few other things. He does some really nice style and a really talented guy, but like I said, this was not his style maybe of cinematography. I kind of pushed him to shoot this, and also, like I said, we were really running behind schedule. And anyways, we ended up getting the shot that you notice here behind. I have basically some horse shit. So it just does not look very pretty. And so it bugs the living crap out of me. Like, I'm literally looking at it each time, but I know I need this shot because I need to go basically from you seeing this character. He says the line, he turns around, he says, you know, let's get out of here. And as he looks behind them, the camera pans over and you see the surprise that the other guys are pointing a gun at him, right? And I kind of almost want to establish how far they are from him, kind of the context of the scene, you could say. So because of that, I do want to have that, but I want to cut from that scene as fast as I can, pretty much, so I don't stay on that. Basically, when the camera pans over and you see the horse shit over there. So, so because of that, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to kind of, I think I already did it here, put a marker at a certain syllable. So where the guy, basically where this guy, second guy, says the line. Because also another thing, if I play it and you just listen to the audio, you'll hear that the audio on this guy sounds really good. The audio on the other actors that are further away doesn't sound very good, and that's because I'm shooting, you know, indie film. We have one microphone. It's again, I'll do another video kind of explaining how I do my audio recordings. But in this case, basically the microphone was like right above his head, somewhere there. So it was very close to this actor, and so he sounds good, but the audio on the other guy sounds horrible. So I'll just play again so you guys can hear it. So that's why, but I'm not too worried because I know that I'm going to shoot close-ups of these guys. So when they're talking, I get good audio of them there. So in this case, what I'm just going to do is when he starts talking, the guy that's farther away, I'll just kind of find basically a moment where he starts talking, like here. So the second he basically makes any noise, I put a marker there, you can see. So I just, again, press M on my keyboard. And now I'm going to go to a close-up here. I have another shot of this actor here. Right, camera recording, yeah? And this is Bolsa take 6. You can see I do not handle the desert weather very well. I love the heat in Ecuador. I love it over there when I'm on the beach or in the jungle because I love humidity, I love heat. But in the desert when it's dry, and that's why I don't think I could ever live in LA. Like, a lot of people ask me like, hey Tom, you make movies, why aren't you in LA? I couldn't stand it. Like, don't get me wrong, I love LA as a city. There's a lot of cool places and I have many friends there, and I love when I just go visit there. But each time I do go visit, after a few days, my body doesn't handle the dryness that's there, because LA is pretty much built on a desert, kind of like Las Vegas. So that's why here you can see I'm not in a good mood when I was marking the shot, and I have the hat and everything and thing. But anyways, this is how it looks. I'll play this shot. Yeah.
No todos.
So basically, the second he starts talking or making noise, I'm gonna put a marker on this too. So somewhere here, I think. Somewhere there. So put a marker there, and here, I think it's at the same line. Let me just play it back here too.
No todos.
Yeah. So that means now that I can basically unlink this audio here. So I'll unlink it. And I know I'm not going to use the audio basically after, after this guy says the line here. So, but I can take this shot now, you could say, and I could line it up with the, oh wait, I forgot, I put the marker, I had the marker up here, so I got to mark it actually on the footage. So here, I put a marker on the clip, on the clip here, you can see it there. But anyway, I'm just doing basically pressing M, that's all I'm doing. And now here I want to line up basically the marker in my video. to this marker. So where is it? So that's where I kind of will go and line up these two markers, and now that means that I can let's see, again, unlink this audio clip with the video, and I can basically move these two, but I know that the audio from the close-up should be, I mean, because the actor's pretty much repeating the lines the same way in each take, so should be able to sound, or should match up pretty well. So let me see here.
No.
Yeah, if you have some questions, yeah.
Okay, so I'm actually going to start with the earlier ones first because I don't want to miss those. There's a few that I think we could go over. First of all, we have a question about the GH4 and the style that you're using, the sort of the color style.
I'm using
profile.
the same profile that's in my GH4 review video, guys. So it's like the first video that I did about the GH4 where I'm lying on the beach on a chair and I'm talking, and then at the end, basically, like I said, well, throughout the whole video I show you all my settings. So it's basically what it is it's Cine D, but I kind of tweaked some of the settings to basically minimize the noise. And the settings that I show you there, just do that, and I've never had a problem. That's how I shot this film actually too. So
cool. HXC Films, I'm just going to answer the question. Tom is using markers for making notes on the film, and he explained that earlier on in the video in case you missed that, so you might want to watch it again once after it's been live. Then we have a question. Sorry, completely missed where I was on the questions. Cohen asks, how do you promote your work?
How do I promote my work? Like, I guess YouTube. I mean, you know, here, me doing this video. I mean, in a way, you could say I'm promoting my film already to you guys, because I'm showing you my whole editing process, and hopefully some of you will be interested and want to see the film, right? So that's one thing. But you know, it's if you're talking about like basically how to promote it, I guess how to financially, like how to make money from your work, that's a different story, because that's, you're talking about like mass marketing, you could say. And I think social media like YouTube here or whatever is great, but if you want to go like mass market, that's what a good distributor will do for your film. And so you can do that too on your own, but it's just, like I said, at the end of the day, it's going to take a lot of work, a lot of money. So you might be better off sometimes going with a distributor. But if you're just like somebody who's starting out, you're doing films, and you just want to, I guess you could say, monetize it, because I could, you know, like me, for example, when I make my films, I just give them away on YouTube here, so you guys, I just upload them, you guys can watch them for free. But I've heard some people kind of will build a following, let's say on YouTube, Facebook, whatever it is, any social media, and then when they have a project, like a film that comes out, you know, that they, let's say, sell online, like a digital download, then they go, hey guys, you know, you can come here, you can watch my film. And I've heard good things about it. I've heard that it can work. So I guess it's just not what I do, because I make money other ways. Part of it is, you know, I mean, advertising on YouTube is a little bit of it here for the thing, but majority of it is because, like I said, I don't do YouTube full time, and part of it is because I'm actually actively working on films, commercials, that kind of stuff, and also I do still a lot of effects work. So that's where I make majority of my money.
Cool. And we've had a couple of questions about the 17mm from SLR Magic. Is that something you've used?
SLR, the 17mm. You mean the adapter?
T1.6 is the one asked in one of the comments.
Oh, okay. No. I haven't. I used the SLR Magic, the adapters, like the anamorphic adapters, the old one, and then they have the new one, the 2TX. But I haven't used any of their lenses now, so can't say. So here, by the way, if I can keep on answering questions, I'm just kind of letting you guys know. Basically, what I did is, like I said, the second the camera pans over here to these guys, I can start seeing them saying the first line, basically this actor, and then since I established already the distance, I'm gonna right away cut to a close-up, so I don't have to show that horse shit that was on the ground. So kind of
there's a
like
question from me which I forgot to ask earlier. Do you use any markers on the camera screen when you're filming to let you know where the black bars are gonna go?
No, I mean, back in the day I did, when I was shooting on like the Canon 7D, like DSLRs. But I use the aperture monitors right now, which are, I've reviewed some of them. They're pretty cool, I guess, affordable monitors, and the new one especially. But even this one, like this film when I shot it, I actually used the old, the aperture VS2, I think it's called. aperture. It's called. It's kind of like aperture, but with a U instead of A.
I always get confused between those two.
Yeah, but it's but they have basically built-in lines, so you like the different aspect ratios. So
Yeah, I have the VS1. It's nice.
oh, cool. Does the VS1 also have the markers and the lines?
I'm not sure. I think some of those more advanced features are limited to the VS2.
Oh, okay. Here, let me just show you guys. I'm gonna basically have another angle here of the other actor. So just here, I'm gonna pick a moment where he responds.
Bolsa take 20.
You guys can hear again when I mark my shots again. That's like when I do my indie films. I don't, like I said, I don't have an assistant. I have somebody writing down. Okay, we're doing take 2, take 3, and print take 5 and take 4. No, and I don't do all this because it's. Don't get me wrong. If you have enough of a budget where you can hire somebody to do that all day and walk around with a clapper, that's great. But if you can't afford to feed your actors, or get good locations or costumes, things like that, the last thing you need to do is hire somebody to walk around all day on set with a clapper and a list and writing down all these notes. Just do it the indie way, like you see me here. I run up, clap with my hands, and in this case I forgot what take we were on, so I was just like take 20, whatever. As long as it's a next number or higher number than previously. Anyway, so here I'm just gonna quickly pick like a moment where this guy responds.
No todos.
Reen, he's Tom shot this with the GH4.
Yep, correct.
¿Qué?
We had a question about whether you color grade before or after editing.
Oh no, always after. Don't ever let me catch you color grading. Some people like wonder and ask like, well, like especially when I show. I don't know if you've been one of the few that I've selected basically to pre-screen some of my work in progress, and you know what I mean. But cause sometimes that's another good thing about social media. It's like when you have a following like I do, you can just reach out to people and be like, hey, I'm working on a film, I want to do a test screening and I want to show you how it looks. So I sometimes contact people and like send them like a private screening of my work in progress. So I can just get an honest opinion from somebody who's, not my family, because you know how it is asking your family or friends. They'll almost never give you an honest opinion. So that's why I just contact random people, show them my work, kind of take notes based on the reactions, and because of that, when you watch those rough cuts, you'll notice that my films look very rough. Like the edit might be there, like the timing and all that stuff might be great, but the colors will be horrible. Like for this film, the colors I would just leave it like that, which is clearly like it's supposed to be night, and clearly it doesn't look like night. It just looks like a badly underexposed and blue shot, right? Because I'm still gonna have to color grade it. So I actually did a previous, I think my previous live broadcast was about me color grading, doing day for night, basically for this sequence. So like I said, but I wouldn't do this color grade until I'm done with the film. I might sometimes do tests or things like that, but as you notice, I'm editing just this footage, and the reason why I do it like that is because I never want to have anything slow me down. So like you notice here, I'm editing on my laptop, and the laptop is already kind of dying because I'm streaming and I'm editing and all that stuff. But if I started now applying color grading filters to this or like effects, then my computer would definitely die. So, and there's also no point, because sometimes, like I said, I might spend all this time color grading the shots, and then the whole sequence, once I put it together, I might be like, oh, you know what, I don't need the sequence in the film, or I can cut out half of it, and I just wasted all this time color grading shots that never made it into the film. So because of that, I would say don't do one thing at a time. And for me, it's like this: the assembly cut. From assembly cut, I start doing my rough cuts, meaning I just edit and I don't worry about any color grading or any visual effects. And then once I've done with my editing, so I'll have like usually multiple edits. Like let's say if I finished, this was the whole film in this case. Right? Obviously it's not, but let's say this was the the full film edited. That would call this the cut one, as you can see here. It's called. And then I would just take this timeline again, duplicate it, and then name it cut 2, and then in there I would make little, alterations and changes based on the feedback that I got from my test screenings. Do all that stuff, but in all those stages I never worry about color grading. And then finally, when I'm like, okay, I'm happy with the edit, everything looks great, I like the edit, and that's when I go in and do things like color grading. First I would actually do sound probably, or special effects, then sound effects, and then color grading, because color grading I kind of want to do once I have, like, especially like in this movie, there's actually going to be some special effects. Because of that, I want to have the special effects in the shots and then apply my color grade on that, because that a lot of times can even make the special effects look better, because it kind of applying this wash of colors, or this, you know, Instagram color filter on top of your footage and on top of your effects that are in the footage, and it kind of makes it all, kind of blends it all together nicer. So that's why I do it like that.
Cool. We have a question from Midnight Gaming. What do you think of the Blackmagic production camera? And I think he's talking about, I think he mentioned the 4K one earlier.
The Blackmagic production 4K camera?
Yeah.
That camera is, I mean, I've shot actually a film on it. If in Los Angeles, was what, like 2 years ago or something like that. Amazing image quality. I mean, I think you can say that for all Blackmagic cameras. They're all, you know, like I said, amazing image quality. The thing is that they're like these affordable, they're actually very affordable cinema cameras, meaning they're definitely not for your run and gun. So if you're doing stuff like wedding videos, or, you know, like stuff like that, where you don't have time to really stage things or whatever, you kind of have to be in there, and sometimes lighting situation changes fast. That's not a camera for you. Also, it's not the easiest to carry around and very ergonomic. So those are the bad things about it. You know, the battery solution's a little bit of a pain in the ass. Then the screen on it, it's good when you're, like, when it's in a studio environment, but when you're outside in the sun. I remember when I was shooting that film in Los Angeles, it was like an indie film, and I didn't want to shoot it on that camera, not because it's, like I said, not good image quality, but because just ergonomically it wasn't good for like running around and kind of gunning it, kind of, which that's how that film was shot, or majority of it, because we didn't have all the permits basically to shoot in Los Angeles. And I remember that, like, especially when we were shooting outside and I had the sun glaring, I couldn't see anything. So I ended up literally I had an old black t-shirt that I just took off, just because I got so angry one time, cut it in half, used some gaffer's tape to kind of, literally I created this hood, you know, like back in the day when photographers would sit with their cameras and they would put this kind of a shade and they would take the photo there, so that, you know, they wouldn't backlight their photos. Well, I had to do that so that I wouldn't get light basically on the screen. And I literally was operating the camera like that. But if you can imagine having that in the middle of the sun and like this humidity, I mean, like this dryness that I was, you know, in Los Angeles, that sometimes you want a little bit of a breeze, and then here I am covered under this t-shirt. It wasn't the most pleasant. And I also fell one time because of that, because I was walking with the camera and I couldn't see anything because I had this big thing over me. Yeah, because of that, the camera is not good, but yet at the end of the day, if you can deal with those things, it produces amazing images. I mean, it records raw, it records or in beautiful Apple ProRes, different flavors, 4K, all that stuff. So I mean, it's an amazing camera, but again, it's for more like a film kind of shoot. So meaning, like I said, where you have time to set up, get, you know, because like I said, like on a film, you know, if you're shooting somewhere, and I've shot sometimes outside in the streets we were shooting at night, and when there wasn't enough light, we would just move our scene over to closer to like a street lamp or something, and we could shoot basically with the available light. But we had to, obviously we couldn't shoot everywhere, whereas with like something like a Sony A7S, you know, that camera can see into the night, you can pretty much shoot with no light. So so I would say that's where the Blackmagic cameras, you kind of have to be aware of that. They're like a proper cinema camera, they are, but because of that, they're not meant for run and gunning, and sometimes you will have to bring in lights and things like that. But I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, image quality is great. I just wish I didn't have to deal with all those, I guess, inconveniences.
Okay. And AV Star Films asks, have you had a look at the new Red Raven? Do you think this is revolutionary in cinema cameras? For £8,000, you have a full 4.5K, 120p.
Yeah,
120
I mean,
frames per second.
I would say it would be revolutionary if it was actually for that much money, because I'll tell you that like I think in US dollars, it's they say the camera retails for as like 5,000 or something, 5,500, but really to get the camera and actually like bare minimum to get it working, you need to spend basically on all the accessories, and that will cost you $10,000, which I guess is around 8-something thousand pounds. And because of that, it's still not a very affordable camera. Now, like I said, there's cameras now, like the new Blackmagic camera, for example, the Ursa Mini or the Ursa Mini 4.6K, which I'm still waiting to get. But once they actually, actually fulfill everybody's orders, I mean, from what I've seen and people that I've talked to who use that camera, or like I've used the Ursa Mini, the 4K, I mean, they're amazing cameras, and those are actually cameras that you can shoot for like $5,000. For maybe the Ursa 4.6K, maybe like with everything, all the batteries and the cards will cost you maybe 6,000. Like I said, Raven is amazing. Yeah, it has a lot of cool features, but the fact is that it's not gonna cost you, like I said, what they really say it's gonna cost. It's gonna be a lot more, and that's, like I said, for the bare minimum. I was really looking at it to have like a nice little package with the Red Raven, so you can actually record something more than like a few minutes of raw, and have enough battery for a whole day and everything. It's gonna cost you more around $12,000 US.
Okay.
So that's just simply, like I said, if the price was actually around $7,000, yeah, it would be revolutionary. But because of that, I would say, like for me, I'm gonna be more looking at because I'm investing in looking for like a proper cinema camera for myself, like a budget cinema camera. And I think the Ursa Mini, like I said, I'm loving it. I have it right now as a loaner, but I think I'm gonna end up. I'm waiting to basically get my hands on the 4.6K, and I think I might just stick with that camera because everything I've seen, because it is amazing, and that camera with all the accessories and everything you would need for like just under $6,000, you can have it running. So
Cool. And we've had a few questions about what you like to edit on and color grade on. So we know you're working in Premiere for editing.
yeah,
What do you use for
color grading? I use most of the, like if I have a quick turnaround kind of project, where, like I said, especially if I'm working with the client needs to like get a lot of like basically feedback where I edit, I do something, and then I might already start putting in some colors so that the shots kind of look a little bit more presentable. Then the client might get back to me and be like, you know what, we like the colors, but we want you to change the edit slightly here, like speed it up. So then I have to go do it, and then I do that, and then they're like, we like the new edit, but actually we don't like the colors, change it again. And when I do basically a project like that where there's a lot of back and forth, then I will do it all in Premiere. The reason is because I can already, like I said, once I have my edit more or less done, apply my color grade, and I can still easily adjust the edit. If I don't have to do that, and I really want the best quality, not that there's a huge difference, it's just I'm saying the best quality in the way my colors are rendered and everything, then I'll do it in Resolve, DaVinci Resolve. And the reason is because Resolve, that's at least right now, is basically works in 32-bit float color space, so it basically handles the colors a lot better, especially if you're shooting with like 10-bit or 12-bit, like an image or like a raw codecs. Whereas Premiere right now is 16-bit. Might change. I heard that they are going to be actually working on a maybe Premiere in 32-bit. If that changes, then I might be just doing everything in Premiere. But right now, as it is, it's like I said, for higher end work where I like this film, I'll probably do color grading in Resolve. And the reason, like I said, is because Resolve, it's better, can handle those colors better, but it's not good if you want to have to go back and forth. If you're editing in Resolve, then I guess it's great because it is you can just do it all there, because it is a pretty good editing program and it's free, so I can't complain. But if it comes to me, like I like to edit in Premiere, and then if by the time I export that project into Resolve, if I were to do all the, let's say, color grades there, and then the client comes back to me and is like, Tom, we love everything, love the colors, but you know what, change the edit here. Then I'll be like, no, you know how it is. Because I would pretty much have to go, it's like this whole round tripping back to Premiere, going through this and then going back to and then you pretty much have to reapply your color grades, and it's a pain in the ass. It really is. So
Yeah, I found that well, I'm really looking for something that allows me to get what I can in Photoshop within Final Cut, and there's a few things that do get a little bit closer than the Final Cut's internal color grading, which it's very good for some basic uses, but in my opinion, it's missing some very important things. Even though there's a few very basic things that it's missing, like separation between controlling blacks and shadows, which gets me every single time. Because it just has like dark, mid, and bright controls, and I'm just like, no, I don't want. Anyways, so, and I'm the same. I don't want to go to another software because I might have to make a little change and then
Mhm.
yeah. And so we've had a few more questions. Tim Roberts says, "Great to see you both working together. Followed you both for a few years. So thanks, Tim." Uh, Janier Diaz says, "Do you Foley your projects?"
I mean, yeah, I will do obviously sounds afterwards, but I don't worry about it. Like I do it all after the edit. So once I'm done, like the editing, like I said, and once I've locked the edit, uh, then the first thing I'll do is special effects. Once I've done that, because like let's say, I have some I don't know gunshots effects or explosions. Obviously, the sound effects need to match that. So I do special effects first, and then when I do my sound, that's when I'll do Foley or I'll do stock library sound effects. I'll put those in. And actually, little tip I'll give you guys if you're doing an indie film, it's really good to when you're there on location. Like I usually the way I work is like for example this film I was pretty much well in that case I actually had a cinematographer but I was directing and then I had one person handling the audio. Well, sometimes a lot of times I'll be directing, handling the camera, and then somebody else is going to be handling the audio. And a lot of times that's my brother Lucas, and he's also the producer and does all these other things. So he'll basically like record the audio while I'm doing obviously the shots, and then each time I stop the take, I'll basically then like he already knows, so I don't have to tell him. He'll kind of go and take the actors aside, and let's say if they were walking in the shot, or if they were doing something, like let's say lifting some object, or moving their clothes, he'll basically just tell them like repeat those movements, but without saying anything. So they'll basically go through their actions, and he'll just record that while I'm off on the side, kind of, brainstorming, going through my notes on my script and things like that. So that's kind of how I do that part, and then this way I have all of these wild sounds recorded right there on location with the actors. And this is especially helpful when I'm doing like an action scene. Like a lot of times when I'm doing action scenes, I won't bother recording any audio. I just record the shots, unless in the shot, let's say somebody's running and then they're like, "Oh my God, wait for me" or something, whatever the line is, right? If there's a line in there, then I'll actually record audio. Otherwise, I don't bother with any of those footsteps or things like that because, like, let's say if I'm running alongside them with the camera, obviously the audio is going to be horrible, right? A lot of times also I'll be giving the actors direction in the middle of the shot, like, a lot of times, like let's say a running scene, I'll be like telling them faster or slower, or look to the camera now, look away, things like that. So what I do again is once I get the shots, my audio guy or my brother, will usually go in there with the microphone and he'll have the actors repeat, let's say, them running, and he'll just record their footsteps because I'll tell you like 90%, 95% of the time I can use that, and that's my Foley sound effects.
Cool. Tim asks, either of you tried the Aperture COB 120T yet, which is a new light from Aperture?
I've seen it at NAB, played with it there, and I'm waiting to get mine. I know the guys contacted me because they're sending it to me along with some, I think, the beauty dish and the softbox. So I will definitely be doing a video and I'll show you guys. But I haven't had really a chance, I guess, to play around with it and use it in an actual set. I don't know. Have you, Nitsan?
No, I haven't. I will likely be getting the daylight version, which would then be matching up with the rest of my lights. It does look like a very nice light.
Yeah. All right.
And Sammy asks, I want to know about Blackmagic slow motion. He didn't specify which camera.
I'm guessing the camera we're talking about before, the 4K. The 4K, I think it only goes up to, I think it's only 30. Yeah, it doesn't do any slow motion. But the Ursa Mini, the Ursa Mini 4K goes up to 100 frames in 1080, and it's windowed. And I know that the Ursa Mini 4.6K, it will do, what is it? It goes up 120, I think it is, which is in 1080. I know, but it's windowed too. But it's 120, and it looks beautiful. It's like I said, it takes the raw signal, and I think you're recording at that point to ProRes in different flavors. But yeah.
Cool. Did you try? This is from Chris and Tell. Sorry if I'm saying that wrong. Did you try the Aperture DEC lens regain?
Again, I'm like behind a schedule and everything, and that's partially because I just been on tour for all those last few months. But yeah, I got it. I kind of played around with it. I have it literally here in one of those boxes that's behind me, and I have I think the Micro Four Thirds version and the Sony E-mount version. So I will be doing a video about it, and I'll be showing you guys kind of the following up video, kind of talking about it. But no, actually I think it's only comes in the Micro Four Thirds, right? Because it's or maybe no. Do you know if they make one in for the Sony E mount, or no?
I'm not sure.
No. I think I actually know. I'm lying. I think I only have the one for the Micro Four Thirds, because I know how I have their other adapter, which is not the lens regain, but the wireless adapter. That one I have for the Sony E mount. Yeah.
Funny story. Someone I sold it. I mean, I reviewed it and then I sold it on eBay, and then it broke, like shattered in several places, and then the guy returned it. I don't know how it shattered, but it was returned.
Oh,
And then
wow.
I had to give him the money back. Like it was all through like eBay, so sort of automatic.
Wow. So did it get shattered when you were transporting
So
it?
I've got a shattered one in the cupboard that I might be able to fix. And
But how did it break during transportation?
I don't think so. It's in like a bomb-proof box.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's true, because they come with those nice cases. So you think he basically broke it and he...
Yeah.
Uh,
I don't know. I mean, I couldn't tell you.
okay.
But if I had to guess, I would say probably.
Okay. Yeah.
And we've got a few more. Sorry, did you want to say something?
No. So maybe one more question. I'll kind of finish up the editing, and then we'll just kind of do some more questions and finish up because it's already hour and a half. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Louis Arts asks, is white balance important in shooting with DSLR cameras? And yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
You can use the white balance in some situations, but yes, it is very important.
Yeah, and definitely very important. And basically, especially when you're shooting with like that 8-bit codec, then it's thing. But I mean, even if you're shooting with a higher bit, like 10-bit Apple ProRes, you can kind of have a bit more of a leniency you can save. But if your white balance is totally off to one side and you gotta go totally to the other side, then it's your colors. You basically lost all your colors. You pretty much end up with like a black and white image, you could say. Right.
Okay.
So.
And sorry, would you like to?
Oh, here I'm just gonna switch to the desktop here, if just hold on with the questions. I'm gonna just kind of quickly finish up and kind of just want to show something here.
Sure.
So here I am back in there in our edit, and as you can see, here's what I edited so far.
Tengo la bolsa. Vámonos de este lugar. No todos.
So yeah, it's a little here got choppy, but let me just rewind here again.
¿Qué?
Yeah, okay, that's as good as it's gonna play, I think, right now. Anyways, I have another shot here, basically, because after that, like, I pretty much just shot 2 angles for this whole scene. I got this close-up here of these guys here, these two, and then in the foreground you see this character with the bag, and then the reverse shot of that, and then the third shot was like I said, this establishing shot as he picks up the bag. So that's pretty much what I'm going to be cutting back and forth with. But I also got this one wide shot, which I didn't bother getting any audio because it was just a wide shot of the whole scene in case I need to cut to it, which looks like this. And here, I'll just maybe play it for you guys. So as you can hear, the audio is useless. So I'm going to mute it right now. And it's just basically them going through the whole scene. So obviously it's so far away that you don't see their mouths moving. They're really small in the shot. You can see here my DP zoomed out even further. So it's, like I said, they're so small that that it's not really necessary to record audio. So I didn't have to bother hiding the mics because I can use audio from any of the close-ups that I have, and they'll match up perfectly. So that's the reason why I do it like this. And basically, I already edited this sequence because this was kind of like a test I was doing. Basically, this was right before I started the tour, because I was showing some of these shots as an example on my filmmaking tour. So I'll just here cut this, and here I'll show you kind of how the scene looks. Again, it's getting choppy. Actually, you know what? I'll show you guys here. I'll play it back, the scene, so you guys can see it actually full screen. I think that's going to be better. So here, I'm just going to let you watch it, and once it's done, I'll get back into it. So here, it's actually not playing from the beginning, so I kind of give away the scene, but here's the beginning again. So here, let's just play it again. And no, it doesn't want to play back. Let me try this again. Let me just jump back here to this shot, and I'll just show you guys here. So you see, he picks up the bag.
Ok, tengo la bolsa. Vámonos de este lugar.
No todos.
¿Qué?
¿Sabes por qué este lugar te da mala vibra? Porque aquí es donde vas a morir.
¿Qué estás
So
haciendo?
there was a little problem you heard with there with the audio.
Juan,
And then here, yeah, he tells his partner to grab
Juan.
the bag from him.
Tú también.
And this is all audio I recorded there on the location. And we're gonna finish basically with this wide shot. Now you notice the wide shot there at the end. It's you know, it basically it's what do you call it? It's it definitely doesn't look like night. That's one thing. And even if I color grade it, like the close-up shots, I think I can color grade them to kind of make them look like day for night. But the wide shots, I mean, you need to see the sky. So that's what I mean by when you're watching this kind of thing. Like it's gonna be very rough around the edges, but you kind of you get the story. You know what's happening in there. Also, he shoots him at the end. There's no gunshots, basically, no explosion, nothing. You just heard the sound effect for now. I just threw in a quick sound effect, and I'll only do sound effects like that when I'm editing, so that you can understand the story, right? So you could understand that he got shot. But then once you do kind of the color grading, you know, obviously you add the little sound effects, the crickets I'll probably add, music. Here actually, let me show you kind of. I have basically it's not the finished scene. That's the sound still sounds horrible. You have to do proper mixing. There's also some like background noise I have to remove, things like that. But but anyways, it kind of will give you an idea of how a rough scene like this, how it looks, and how you kind of have to be cool with it while you're editing your whole film. You kind of have to just go through this rough cut stage and just worry about making sure your story flows and it's easy for the audience to understand. Don't get bogged down with doing all these other things, basically, where you're like I said, where you're spending time doing sound effects or color grading, all that stuff, because that will take you away from, like I said, from this step, which is just editing. So edit, make sure you edit the whole thing so it flows nicely. The length of the shots and the transitions, all that stuff, and the story is basically flows nicely. And then once that's good, you lock it, and like I said, then you can do all the other things. And then at the end, you end up with a scene like this. So I'll just let you guys watch it.
Ok, tengo la bolsa. Vámonos de este lugar.
no todos.
¿Qué?
¿Sabes por qué este lugar te da mala vibra? Porque aquí es donde vas a morir.
¿Qué estás haciendo?
Dame la bolsa. Juan,
Juan, tú también.
So as you guys can see, that's how, like I said, it's not the finished scene, but that's kind of how it's going to be looking. So this was literally the only reason why I have that little section actually edited is because one of the actors that I basically worked on this film, he was basically needed something to show on his demo reel, and I basically worked on this film for free. So and since my whole editing got so delayed, I ended up kind of editing this little scene. I sent it off to him so he could put it on his demo reel, and while I'm now actually gonna get to actually finish the whole film. So that scene might actually still change, might not be the final thing. And like I said, normally I wouldn't just jump in there and kind of edit a scene in the middle of the film like that, unless I needed to do, because in the case of this actor, I needed to send it to the scene. Or let's say if I have like some really extensive special effects and I have some people that are going to be working on those special effects, and let's say it might take them a few months, then if I really know that this scene is going to be in there, then I might sometimes edit just that one scene with the special effects and send it off to get the special effects work basically going while I'm still editing the rest of the film. But usually I try to edit kind of from the beginning to the end of the film and kind of make sure my editing is done before I do all those other steps. But like I said, there's always little exceptions to the rule. So anyways, here maybe if there's any other questions, you can show me maybe Nitsan, and maybe just kind of finish up, because I thought we'd only be doing this for an hour, but I see time flies like crazy. It's already, and I know for you, because you're in London, so it's already like 1 a.m. I think, right, for you?
Almost.
Yeah. So
I mean, it's fine. I'm fine.
Yeah, but it's in case if you guys see if Nitsan falls over in his chair or starts snoring, then you know why. Yeah.
We have an interesting question here. What camera should I use? And this is from subscriber. That's what it says. What camera should I use if I want to motion track and add CGI to my video?
What camera should you want to motion? I mean, you can use any camera. I guess the thing is, I would say.
Mayor Jim Kennedy.
Well, sorry.
So resolution is gonna be quite a nice thing to have.
Hold on, guys. I'm having some problems here with my computer. It just randomly plays stuff. Yeah, it's if. I mean, you can do you can do any a camera. I guess it's just the better the quality image you get, it's always better when you're doing tracking, because the points that you're going to be using for tracking are going to be more visible. So that's one thing. Also, if you have what do you call it? If the image is not compressed, for example, it's going to be better for you, because again, bad compression can mean that it might be just more difficult to track the shot. Definitely, if you're doing green screen work, you don't want to be shooting in like 8-bit, 4:0 color space. You want to, I would say, at least 10-bit and like 4:2, so you have more color information in the other channels. So those are things I would say that you should watch out for.
Cool. I did ask everyone if there's any more questions here in the comments. We've actually surprisingly gone. I'm sorry, guys, if I've missed any important questions. You can ask again. But we've actually managed to answer. Well, you did most of the answering. You've managed to answer almost everything.
Yeah. Okay.
And guys, I'm sorry if I've missed some stuff. There's quite a long list of comments.
I will actually, by the way, like I said, if there are any other questions, we'll still take them. But once I'm done, I do have to head down because actually my wife is calling me for dinner, so
Okay.
I have to go, and
so
I'll have dinner. But afterwards, I'm gonna, if you guys stay online, I'll basically go, because this video is gonna be posted to YouTube. So I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna answer your comments basically. So just write back in the comments section. So just like I said, if there's anything that I missed, I'll try to answer it in the comments. So if anything, just leave more questions there. But yeah, is there anything else now?
Okay, so guys, now is a good time. If you have any more questions, put them in the comments there. And this is a good time for me to plug my channel.
Yeah.
Cool. So guys, there's going to be a link down below to see my channel. There's, I think it's coming close to 600 videos. So it's reviews, tutorials, stuff like
wow.
that.
Wow, you have 600 videos?
Yeah.
Holy.
So no, I think it's maybe 550. I haven't looked recently.
But you're getting there.
It's somewhere around there.
Oh, okay.
And so there's it's organized into categories, so you can sort of go, stabilizers. But most importantly, I would say, is just to save you some time, go to my favorites playlist. That's sort of my current, the stuff I most recommend, the tutorials I like the most, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so it's like reviews and tutorials, and there's in the reviews is quite a big focus on finding the stuff that's like finding the issues, and yeah, I'm quite go into finding all the little issues with stuff, which I think can be very useful to the user, which I know Tom does as well. Yeah. And so,
well,
yeah,
I know, I'll tell you guys that I've actually used Nitsan's recommendations quite a few times, because I remember last time I was looking for was it like for my slider, like a little cheap but like a decent fluid head, and I remember you recommended one for me. There was something for flash photography. I guess I mean, I do photos, but haven't done much with flash photography and stuff. And I remember I was asking you for some stuff. So and sometimes I just literally look at Nitsan's channel. So definitely, yeah, go check out his YouTube channel. In the meantime,
yeah,
you can continue talking. Well, I'm just gonna I'm gonna be looking at the questions that are coming up.
Sure. I was gonna say there's stuff there for both. There's a lot of video stuff there, and then also a little bit of photography tutorials and reviews.
There's one question from AV Star Films. Are you a fan of using jibs? I don't know if I'm a fan. I use them, but it really, like I said, with any filmmaking tool, I really just use it when it makes sense. Don't just use it just because you have it. So I guess you could say I'm lucky in the sense that I have a lot of gear, whether it's stuff that because I worked on bigger projects and stuff, and I had access to, because it's just the big budgets means you can rent anything. So I had some access to some pretty nice tools. Plus, now because I do stuff on YouTube and stuff like that, companies just send me a lot of products, a lot of like these gimbals, jibs, and everything. So even if I don't need them, they'll send it to me. So I have the stuff, but I'll tell you, even if I have it, and even if it's an amazing product, I don't ever go about like looking at a project and I'm like, okay, I have a gimbal and I have a jib and this and this, so how can I use these in this project? That's not how I look at it. I kind of just think of an idea. Okay, I have this cool idea I want to show, the story or music video, whatever it is, and then I kind of go from there and I go, you know what? It would be nice to start off, let's say, with the opening shot, it's a wide shot, and then the camera, let's say, cranes down to let's say, an actor, and then in that case, like, I start looking at it and go, all right, what can I, like sometimes I might get a shot like that on a jib, because I know I can put the camera really high and get it nice and smooth. But like, let's say in the case of this film that I was just editing, The Legend of the Bar, because I was on location in Ecuador, I had to literally just, I traveled there, I was partially on vacation, so I couldn't take all of my gear with me, and I didn't have anything really with me aside from the camera and a few lenses. So my cinematographer, Danny, he brought his glide cam, so we usually use this glide cam, and I got a few of these you could say these sort of a jib shots where the camera was going up and down, but it was actually done on the fly cam. So in that case, like I said, you just use what you have access to. And yeah, that's kind of how I
can
work.
add something to that.
Yeah,
I would say it's not that I have a problem with jibs, but for my own sort of style of work, especially since I don't have a car, I would say I'm not a fan of jibs because it's more to carry compared to a slider.
True.
Just for that reason of being able to get to where you're going easier. Because I mean, here in London, a lot of people, we have trains and stuff because everything's fairly close, but still I don't want to be lugging around too much stuff.
Well, yeah, taking all that stuff on the tube I know over there, or that's how you guys call it, right? The tube or the metro?
Yeah.
All right.
That's the tube is the underground around
okay.
London.
Yeah, I know. I was there, like I said, first time in London, and it's a pretty crazy city, pretty busy.
Yeah.
There's a question here from what's his username? Rice, I think it is. But I don't actually see your question. It just says, "Can you answer this question?" And
I think it's a joke.
So yeah, either it's a joke or we said maybe a question before and we missed it. So if anything, just write it again because now I can I'm looking at the screen here, so on my laptop. So yeah, just let me know. Let's see what else. If you could choose any movie to be a part of, what would it be? For me, it'd be to be a part of. What would it be? For me, it would be on the set of Impossible. Okay. I don't know. I guess.
I haven't seen that.
Impossible?
Yeah.
What is Impossible? Is it like a new movie or is it Mission Impossible?
I haven't even heard of that. He says
okay.
The Impossible.
The Impossible. Yeah, I don't even know what that is. I mean, maybe you can let us know. But for me, I guess for me, like I said, for those of you who don't know, actually, I started my career kind of in reverse. I always tell people because I'm, in most indie filmmakers, they try to they work, on like little productions, music videos, little short films and that, with the hopes of getting to work on big budget, usually Hollywood, whatever, productions. I kind of started in reverse because the first project I did was a multi-million-dollar, Hollywood production, and I worked basically as an animator. So I actually started, in case you didn't know, as basically working in special effects. So I did animation. My first job was an animator. Then I did slowly transition to doing animation and effects for feature films. I did some commercials, music videos in between for like bigger budget kind of stuff. And then later on, I did more. I worked as a special effects supervisor on some films, and some fairly big budget films. Like I said, like $50-60 million productions with actors and directors and stuff that you guys would know. So you can always, if you want, you can check out, I guess, my IMDb or whatever. You can see my credits. But I'll tell you that because of that, maybe I don't have this longing like a lot of people have. Like, oh, I wish I was on that movie set, because I know that with those big movie sets, there's a lot of things that come with it that are not so nice. That's all I'm gonna say. There's a lot of nice things because of like I said, you get to work with like some really nice tools, and you get to do some really cool scenes, some big setups and things like that, big set pieces. But there's a lot of politics and things like that involved on big films, and it's not because sometimes it's because the people you're working with are kind of not the most pleasant, but sometimes even if you're working with a really cool team, it's because of the rules, like because of the so much money's on the line, and because of safety and people, companies, nobody wants to get sued, especially here in America. So what happens is the insurance, basically the liability laws, or even the unions for the actors, for crews and everything, they restrict a lot of things. So like for example, I remember one thing I didn't like, when I was working as a special effects supervisor, is I would be on set, and I also know how to handle a camera, and I would sometimes be like, explaining to the camera operator, like, okay, this is how you need to frame the shot, because otherwise we're going to spend months just fixing up, or tracking the shot or whatever it is. Like, and I was there trying to make sure that we get footage that works well for special effects. And then, sometimes it was because we're running behind schedule and all that stuff. It was just faster for me to grab the camera, get the shot, and be done with. But guess what? I couldn't. I remember like one time I grabbed the camera, union rep came in, and he's like, "You put that camera down right now." And he said it in a not so nice language, which I'm not going to say here. And it was literally like they they'll tell you, like, they'll kick you off the set. They'll sue you. The union will go after you. And the reason is because, I can understand there's certain things that they have to protect. But that's kind of what happens is when you have this big production, it's not always that fun being on there because it's this big machine, I would say then. Whereas when you're working on those indie films, trust me, guys, that's why I, like right now, even though I work every so on bigger projects, the majority of the stuff I love doing right now, and I guess I'm lucky to be in a position to do it, is the stuff where, like the Big Wild North, my last short film, which was just me and my older brother and my younger brother, who was the actor in it. And I was asked, like the three of us, we did that whole film, and then I had some other actors come in here for a day or two, but that was it. And that was so fun because there's no stress, nobody watching over your back, telling you what you can't and can't do, things like that. So those are the things I would say that a lot of indie filmmakers don't appreciate. Like, I sometimes love just, like, when it's just me, I grab the camera, especially if I have like a little, small setup, small camera, little handheld gimbal, and I just go out, let's say if I'm camping or something, and go out on the town, and I do like a little, little piece for myself, like a little cool video just of the place or things like that, traveling video, because it's really just so freeing. Like you really are just you with the camera, and you're really making films. You don't have to deal with any politics, any of that stuff. Now, having said that, I guess if there was a film I really would want to see or be on, maybe, like I said, and I'm hoping it would be a good experience, I think it would be actually an animated film, and it was a film that just literally inspired me to, I guess, to get into filmmaking, which is the reason why I got into animation first, which was Lion King. I remember when I saw Lion King, I was like 14, I think, years old at the time, and I saw it and I just like fell in love with it. And it's funny because as a kid I never liked animated films, and then I watched that as a teenager, and I was just like, wow, I didn't know you could have an animated film that actually made me, like have emotions. I almost cried. I remember that scene where Simba his father dies and things like that. So I love that film so much that for me it wasn't even an animated film, but that's kind of what inspired me to do animation and kind of get into filmmaking. So that's why, if I could kind of, maybe I would say, join the filmmakers, then that would be really cool. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome.
Any other questions I missed while I was blabbing away?
There's been a few more.
Yeah. Let's see. Anything other more interesting? Like maybe two
There's about
questions.
the difference between 8-bit and 10-bit and 420, 422.
Okay. Well, that I'm not going to get into because it's a long answer, and I will be doing a video about that. So, like I said, I'll be doing a video about basically using S-Log or C-Log or any of these log profiles, when you should use it, how you should, blah, blah, blah. All that stuff, I'm going to explain to it, and that's when I'm going to talk about all the 8-bit, 10-bit, 422, all that stuff. And because I'm going to have visuals to show you, it'll be easier to understand. Yeah.
Okay. And Louis Art is asking if there's a difference between using a memory card that's 95 megabyte per second or 30 megabyte per second. There's a pretty quick answer, which is it just needs to be sufficient for your camera. So you just need to double check that card is fine for your camera, and then you should be fine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's really what it's thing. It's just like Nitson said, it just really comes down to what your camera requires. I guess what's the speed. What is actually the speed on the like pretty much most cameras now, they shoot like 100 megabits per second, I think I would say, right?
I don't think so.
Well, like on the Sony A7S, for example, what is it?
The A7S is 28 megabit, I want to say. I'm
Oh.
sorry, I don't know off the top of my head.
Because
But the thing is with A7S is you need SDXC. That's the main thing. Is some of the higher quality video modes won't work on SDHC.
Oh,
Just two different types of cards.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Because I know on the GH4 you need, like I said, you could be, yeah, you could shoot basically on I think pretty much any SD card, but there's certain, I guess I might be mistaken, but from what I remember, it's like it goes up to 100 bits per second, megabits per second. So in that case, you definitely need a card that can record at least 100 megabits per second. If not, then
yeah. And by the way, guys,
one handle.
there is a difference between megabyte per second and megabit per second. So it does get a little bit confusing. So the best thing is to just Google your camera.
Yeah,
And,
that's.
yeah.
All right, so I think that's it. I don't know. Hopefully, yeah, like I said, it was a little, I know, choppy, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Just maybe, I think what's fun about doing these live streams is you get to actually, like I said, interact, and we get to talk to you guys and everything. So answer questions live. And like I said, I'm going to be doing another one. I'm actually next week. After July 4th weekend, or the July 4th celebrations, I think it might be July 5th or 6th, I will post a notification on my Facebook or Twitter, so check there. But I'm doing another live stream about editing, and it's going to be actually, I'm going to have a cool guest, guy, name is, I forgot his name now, Sven Pape. And he's a German. Well, he's actually he's living in LA, and he's edited films for people like James Cameron, James Franco, even like Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I think that's his last name. The actor who's also a director. And anyways, he's edited some pretty cool projects. He said feature films, documentaries, things like that. He's actually working right now on a feature film with a really talented director/actor. And that the last, I think, film that they collaborated on, it was like won the main award at the Sundance Film Festival. So anyways, really talented film editor, and he's gonna be, like I said, appearing on my channel, and he's gonna be taking your questions. And he actually has a really cool YouTube channel that he started himself, where he shares kind of his process of editing. But I think, like I said, it's cool because he's, like I said, you guys will be able to ask him anything, whether it's technical things, creative things, how he approaches everything. And he edits in all different kind of programs too. He's used pretty much everything that's out there. So anyway, so you guys make sure you check out that video. Plus, like I said, I'll be doing more videos here, me editing this film, basically, the Legend of the Bar. So hopefully you guys enjoy that and see how how we progress with this edit until I'm ready to premiere the film on my YouTube channel. Anyway, so that's it. Any last words, Nitsan, maybe? I don't know.
We've had a few viewers saying thanks. So thanks you guys for watching. That's great.
Thank you.
And for commenting.
Yeah, thank you for joining. And like I said, for updates and everything, just as always, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, and which I'm guessing you have if you haven't. Or also make sure you turn on the notifications for this channel, because I know sometimes people message me and they're like, "Oh, I didn't know you had a video. I totally missed it. How come you didn't notify me?" And it's because of the way YouTube does it now. If you subscribe to more than one person, basically it kind of decides for you which videos they think are more important to you. So if you guys want to make sure you are notified about the next video I do or next live broadcast, basically you click the little gear icon next to the subscription button on my YouTube channel, and then choose the option get notifications. This way you'll be notified of every video that I do. Same thing for if you're subscribed to Nitsan's channel. And that's it. And then if you just want to know like when's the next live broadcast I'm going to be doing, best place probably is I would say probably Facebook or Twitter. Check it out. I'm going to post it there. Anyways, thank you guys. It was a blast, and see you guys next time. Bye.